Hello and welcome to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast in all of the internet. My name is Patrick Knisley.
My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is David Howe.
And we have a special guest.
Me.
Yeah, him, Bryan Lubu Roberts.
Bryan Lubu Roberts in the house. How you doing, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Yeah?
Stayed busy.
Yeah?
So, you know, my life is a busy beehive of activity.
Is that good busy?
Hey, it's a mixture. You know, there's sometimes you want to not do something, but you got to do it, and then you do it, and then you finish it, and you're like, man, that was not worth it. It's exactly what I thought would happen, happened. So...
Or did you at least have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Got sent home packing with a bunch of food. I have to finish it tonight,
Or else
or
will
it's going to
spoil?
go bad.
Right.
So I didn't eat anything today. I had like a salad for lunch, and I'm just like, and then I went home and ate a pound of turkey dressing,
Damn.
and I gotta go.
So you got the good spoils, man.
Yeah. Well, I live so far away.
Right,
So my
right.
parents are always just like, "Oh, you're clearly starving because you live 3 hours away." So
Yeah, that's fair.
I ate this gluten-free cake mix. It's King Arthur's cake mix, and I can't stop thinking about it.
Is it good?
It was really good.
It's good.
But I don't know why it's called King Arthur's cake mix.
Well, King Arthur was famously gluten intolerant.
That's like a flower brand, I believe. That's why.
yeah, oh, that makes sense. Oh, there you go. How do you know flour brands?
Well, because my wife eats gluten free, so
okay.
that is. I don't know. I shop
Why
at
do you
the
think
grocery store. I don't know.
why do you think he needed Merlin? 'Cause
Yeah, exactly.
to magically remove
To remove all the gluten from the bread. Yeah. I went home with Sasha for Thanksgiving. Did not get sent home with a great amount of food. Mostly Sasha ate it, which is fair. It is her namesake.
It's her family.
family.
It's her birthright to eat most of that turkey. But we had some pretty good leftovers. My neighbor made us a pie for us to bring. That was
Wow,
really
what kind of
nice.
pie?
It was a lemon icebox pie.
Whoa.
Is that what they're called? I think so.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah.
I don't get the icebox part.
Yeah, you just make it and then you put it in the refrigerator. It's like a cold pie.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, it's just a fancy name for the pie is cold.
Yeah.
Well, today we're going to be talking about other developers and studios that we think Nintendo should partner with, and maybe we'll get into some speculation on our ideas about that, given their recent getting in bed with other developers.
Who's Nintendo gonna fuck?
We got some news items. We're going to talk about Tencent making an announcement about China. We're going to talk about the Mario Maker 2 update. That one's going to be big.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Arlo's video on Retro Studios and some more stuff.
Some hot goss on Retro Studios.
Yeah. We'll get into all that. But before we talk about Nintendo, I just wanted to mention that I think the day we're recording this is the 25th anniversary of PlayStation's release in Japan.
Oh.
So
1994?
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that would be 1994.
Yeah.
I think it came out the following year in the US. So
That's right.
We'll do this again in April or whatever it is.
Like we did for the Game Boy?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But it does make me feel old to
For
hear
sure.
25 years.
is a long time.
I remember renting a Sony PlayStation from Blockbuster Video and playing Battle Arena Toshinden, and I was like, holy shit, a 3D fighter.
Yeah.
You can like move around.
I remember
blew my
working at Hollywood Video to make enough money to buy a PlayStation.
Yeah, dude. Funny story is that it was supposed to be the Nintendo PlayStation originally.
Yeah.
You know, famously Nintendo and Sony split over some like added peripherals for the Super Nintendo, and that's what created the behemoth that Sony is in the games industry.
Speaking
now.
about behemoth, I think just recently, like a week or two ago, they got awarded something being the best-selling video game console ever because of how many units they've sold.
the
of all
PS2?
their thing. For like PlayStation as a whole, or whatever.
Right.
I thought, yeah, that's
Guinness Book of World Records
Yeah.
recognized them as the best-selling video game console.
Yeah.
I never owned one.
Really?
You never owned any
I went-
PlayStation?
Any
went
kind of
all in.
PlayStation?
I feel like my family growing up, I had to pick one.
Okay.
And I was like, well, Nintendo, you know, I saw Mario 64 first, and I was like, well, that blows me away. I'm going to play that. Then it's like you go to a friend's house and you like see what you're missing, like Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, yeah.
Silent Hill, which is probably one of my favorite games ever because I did end up playing it
Right.
when I got a PlayStation 2. Crash. It was fun.
See, for me, it was like the like live action like Star Wars games or like the games that would like use full motion video or whatever. Like that shit blew my mind because I was like so used to the blocky Nintendo stuff, like seeing like video and audio and like real life actors going in and out of scenes. I don't know. I was also really impressed by Myst when I was a kid. So,
hey, don't knock Myst.
No,
no, I love Myst. Yeah.
I think I was 16 when the PlayStation came out too, and it's like so I was ready to like I'm done, kiddie video
really
games and like Twisted Metal, you know what I mean? Yeah, we're gonna like so. This isn't a PlayStation podcast, so we should slow our roll.
Let's
a little
spend
bit.
the whole hour.
There's some great great memories with the PlayStation
Me too.
brand. Yeah.
Yeah.
But getting back into Nintendo news, I think everything else from here on is. Last week we talked about how there was a leak that Gordon Freeman from the Half-Life series might be coming to Smash. Well, that has come out that's clearly fake. The guy that like leaked it pretty much admitted so on. So there you go. As well as some other leakers saying that their sources say that's not true. So.
Gordon Freeman, that would be a bad choice anyway. Don't give people hope that there will be another Half-Life, like a sequel to Half-Life 2 Part 2 or whatever that was. It's over. Just let it die and let people have to live with that fact.
I thought it was kind of fun while it lasted.
It was kind of fun while it lasted. That's talking about like what we talked about last week. I'm glad leaks are fake because it makes it more interesting.
Yeah, it gives us something to talk about on the podcast too.
Also, there were Resident Evil spirits that came to Smash. So
that was a bummer.
That probably means we're not getting a Resident Evil DLC character.
Okay, that is a shame.
Yeah. Especially after we had the episode where Ryan was so excited about.
It seemed very possible too.
Yeah.
But now it seems not possible.
We had some good ideas for like the palette swap changes for the characters.
Yeah,
Nintendo, if you're listening, there's still time.
There's no rule that says that they can't do that, but it does feel like it's not likely.
Make some Mii outfits.
Yeah,
right.
Just as good.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Or a PNG.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that.
I didn't have Geese Howard, but they had Geese Howard Mii outfits, and that's I gotta live with.
You're happy with that?
It's fine.
Make your own happiness.
So we've talked about Arlo on the podcast before. He's a YouTuber puppet who talks about Nintendo. And Arlo did a big video on retro studios and like what's going on with how there's been so many years since they released a game and what's the deal with that. And he went over painstakingly all the evidence. So if you haven't heard that and that piques your interest, pause and go listen to that and come back because we're about to talk about it. Because it's really interesting. We've talked about it a little bit on the podcast before, actually.
For sure. This was like the most like fully collected like group of sources and
Facts
evidence and all the
evidence,
little drip feed of news that we've heard about what Retro may or may not be up to is basically all collected into this kind of rumor filled video that Arlo did. It was kind of like it was very like investigative
He did
journalism.
a good job with it.
Yeah,
Can we
it's a
just
great video.
quickly go through the big points of it's a 25-minute video.
Yeah.
And it covers Retro hasn't put out a game in like 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, since Tropical Freeze.
Management is bad, and there are reviews on Glassdoor that management is bad. But despite all of that, they release kick-ass games.
Right. Yeah, I think that it's management is at least unfocused, right? Like I think the big takeaway was that like everyone's constantly biting off more than they can chew and they don't have like any long-term plans, which makes sense when we haven't seen a game from them in 6 years. I think it's kind of like hard to deny. I think a lot of the Glassdoor stuff could very well be fake, and I think Arlo does a pretty good job.
Is.
Yeah, because there's a lot of
clearly fake.
A lot of people were talking about the like Star Fox Grand Prix like all around the same time, which is right when those rumors were going around. I think you can pretty much discount like all of those Glassdoor reviews, like when it comes to it. But yeah, it's a very interesting deep dive, and it's conspiracy theories abound. It's worth a watch.
And then you wanted to point out you shared it's kind of an old article, but it was really interesting about games. I don't want to steal your thunder on this.
So it's important to remember that this is not unusual for game development.
Right.
That they're like Retro, they've made really good games, and it behooves a development studio to put out games to make money.
What?
Imagine that. But we have games like Diablo 3 or Half-Life 2, which took 5 or 6 years of development.
Duke Nukem Forever, which
yeah.
is like 15 years of
Oh my
development.
God, so long. It went from ID. Did it go from ID? No, 3D Realms to
3D Realms.
Gearbox.
And
all of that stuff.
That was a shit show.
Just to add like context of like this shit is unexpected but somewhat normal in like this mid-tier developer.
Mm-hmm. And especially, I feel like the pressure has got to be a lot higher for a studio like Retro because they're a second-party studio. So it's like there's kind of the feeling of autonomy, and you get to do what you want, but there's not because you answer directly to Nintendo. And Nintendo is famously very strict about quality control and what they do and don't want for their brand and stuff like that. So I imagine it's total chaos over there.
Yeah, and just for context, there's a Metacritic. I didn't realize they have articles, but there's a Metacritic article from like 8 years ago. Matt pointed our attention to where they talk about a bunch of games that went through development hell, but still came out to varying degrees of success. So you can check that out if that interests you as well.
It's actually interesting because Retro is in Austin,
Right.
Or
yeah.
it was. I ran this video game developer club when I was in college, and we had a dude from Retro come and speak, and he was also like. What he was saying was very indicative of like all this stuff, especially like stress from Nintendo.
Sure.
Because this is when this is after Metroid Prime. So kind of the experience of like working on that where it's just like, yeah, they came back all the time with like notes and stuff. And also like Miyamoto came down and we thought we would get guidance from him, but
he was just disappointed.
No, he was just like, I think he kept talking about cell phone games.
Right.
Because I think that's just what his thing was at the time. Like he was just like, we gotta do stuff for cell phones.
Right.
Yeah, I could see it being, and the cultural divide, right? Like it just being a tricky situation.
Totally.
I think one thing that you can't deny throughout any of this reporting is that like there have been like several instances of like exoduses from the company, right? It's, there a lot of the people that worked on the Prime games are no longer there. Now there are some people that are still there, of course. But like,
and it's specifically developers too. It sounds like,
right.
Like a lot of artists have stayed, but
right,
maybe
right.
not.
And a lot of them went on to form Armature Games, which is also here in Austin. I think part of the reason I like talking about retro stuff on here so much is because it is in Austin.
Yeah, there's a connection.
But yeah, so it's definitely there's something going on there, and there surely is a game that's been dropped at this point. But it seems like kind of. It's all hands on deck for Metroid Prime 4 right now. So I just don't know that we'll ever see what they were working on during that time. I think it's, one of those kind of vaporware games that's kind of lost to time.
And we were talking about Miyamoto being into cell phone games at that time. Well, Nintendo has been putting out cell phone games, including Mario Kart Tour, which The Verge just put out a list of the top 10 mobile games that free. Well, they put out sold and free mobile games. The top 10 2019 downloaded games on the iPhone. So that's obviously not across all mobile devices. Mm-hmm. But Mario Kart Tour is at the top of the list. So that's interesting.
That's very surprising when I read that.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah, that just feels like Mario Kart brand is.
But I
doing
don't.
Well.
I'm not surprised by that.
I don't follow mobile games that well because I look at this list and I just don't know what any of these games are. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like mobile games that much.
I don't quite have the pulse on Mario Kart.
Right.
Because I haven't played it since N64 and my friends didn't play it through college.
Man, you are missing out with Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, and so that
it's like
kind
the
of
best Mario Kart game of all time.
that totally missed me completely. So, David, what do you think?
I mean, it's not surprising to me that it is the top selling game on mobile this year. Maybe that's not for Android, but at least for Apple.
I'd guess that it probably would be about the same, but who knows?
I mean, it's like, A, it's free. B, it's Mario Kart. There are like 20 million copies of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe out there right now.
Mario Kart's always like the top selling software.
Yeah, it has like a 50% attach rate for the Switch. Every single Nintendo platform, its top selling game has been Mario Kart pretty much since Mario Kart came out. I think maybe Double Dash is the one exception to that. But it's like, yeah, so it's definitely not surprising to me. It's just a very recognizable name, and like the idea that anyone can play Mario Kart for free. I get it. Now the question is, are they making any money off the game? From everything I've heard, not as much as it's been played. I think not that many people are falling for the $5 a month or whatever subscription service that they're doing, and like all this paid like loot box stuff is not really working for them. But at least it is in people's hands. So.
And they made it pretty easy for you to not pay for anything in Mario Run, I felt like.
Right. Well, but Mario Run, you had to just purchase it straight up. Like that was like
that's
$10.
right, that's right.
It was like a $10 flat fee.
You could buy you could play the first 2 worlds or levels for free.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. But it was nice that game did not have any microtransactions.
Yeah.
But that was a pretty big failure for them,
Right,
ultimately.
obviously it didn't sell as well.
Yeah, because you look at something like that versus like Fire Emblem, what is it? Fire Emblem Heroes, I believe, is the mobile game. And that's like a whale hunter game. Like they get like the Austins of the world.
Friend Austin
yeah,
to buy
sunk like
$500
$1,000 into that game or whatever. And that's a very popular game. So we'll probably be seeing more Nintendo experimenting more with this kind of stuff.
I downloaded Mario Kart. I just didn't play it.
Yeah, I also downloaded it and didn't play it.
Sitting on my phone, I'm like, one day I'm
that
gonna
might
just
be
pick it
why
up.
it's the most downloaded game, you guys.
Good point.
I was part of the beta program and I downloaded the beta and played it, but then the game came out and I didn't download it and I didn't play it.
That's why the measurement is download, not play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So we just had Black Friday, which came just came around after Thanksgiving, obviously, and so we got some sales sort of analyst numbers to go through here. CNN declared Nintendo Switch the big Black Friday winner, and I was reading online that people were saying that they would go to Target or whatever and they'd just be sold out of all the Switches.
Was this in the
And all the
U.S.?
Switch
in
games,
the
too.
U.S., yeah.
U.S., okay.
Yeah.
That like stores were just going through Switches, and that's interesting too because there weren't that many great deals on it.
No, and a
You know
lot
what
of
I
them were
mean?
the same bundle as last year. It was the Mario Kart 8
yeah.
bundle, which has the
old
Switch
Switch.
V1 in it as well. Yeah, but it was selling like fucking hotcakes.
And then there's no other real deal. There was like maybe some places had like a $175 Switch Lite or something, but like there weren't that many great deals on it, and it still sold really well.
Well, did the Switch Lite sales factor into that? Like, was that all one big?
I think it's all just under the same banner of what we're about to be talking about.
I also read like in the UK, Switch did really well, but the Xbox One sold the most in the UK during Black Friday.
Weird.
And that's because the Xbox One was only like $115.
It was just
Oh, right. They just
slash
went crazy.
the price.
so
Yeah.
cheap.
That makes sense. I mean,
People bought it.
Xbox has not been doing great over there, and especially not in Japan. So I can see them trying to just get units out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also read this article from a couple analysts, basically like going over the question on like whether or not the Switch is going to outsell the Wii.
Yeah, Bloomberg put out an article, and they interviewed a bunch of analysts about that issue, or sort of just about like the Switch. And Nintendo Life did a little quick summary of it,
Right.
which
What
has a
did
lot
they
of the
say?
quotes.
I mean, a lot of them were saying that it's very possible. It would make sense if you look at the kind of chart, the graph of where the sales are at right now. It's pretty similar, and it's like for me, it makes total sense that it would because they're, look at like sales of the DS compared to the GameCube or whatever, or the DS compared to the Wii or the 3DS compared to the Wii U. It's when you combine the pillars like that, you're going to getting both sales. So it's like.
And
Is it
it's-
really fair to compare them? That's another question.
But it has also reached like obviously with this Black Friday sale, like saturation of like people want it. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's reached some sort of casual attraction. Like I was reading comments online. Somebody's like, I was in GameStop and there were like older people there looking for it. You know what I mean?
And we have nothing but Ring Fit Adventure to thank for that.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe that's it. And then it being bundled with Mario Kart, like we were talking about being
Yeah.
I'm about to get that game. No joke. I'm getting that for Christmas or something.
Ring Fit?
Ring
I'm
Fit?
I'm on the same boat. I want to get
Yeah,
it too.
yeah.
David has it.
Yeah, I do have it.
I was trying to do like because I had the lung transplant and everything, so it's
Yeah.
like I do exercise, but right now I just walk and do weights.
Yeah.
And people are starting to be like, "Well, you're doing pretty good. You could probably do like spot cardio or some kind of harder cardio."
And you're like, oh shit, I should
It's
do
like,
some cardio.
well, I don't want to leave my house, so
I'm in the same boat. I can't leave my house. I have a kid in bed,
Yeah.
and like so I'm getting fatter, y'all. I need
Oh,
to
hell
do
yeah, me
something.
too,
Me
dog.
too,
Me
every day.
We're all getting fatter.
Everyone say me too.
That
at
was the
same
most
time.
commiserating we've ever been on this podcast.
is that what this episode will just be called? We're getting fatter.
Yeah. There was a Forbes article about Ring Fit Adventure, and the headline was something like, Ring Fit Adventure made me feel good about my body, but I look stupid.
I don't care about that. Especially in my own home.
Speaking of Ring Fit Adventure, maybe we just jump ahead to that story there.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. Nintendo has apologized for shortages of Ring Fit Adventure, specifically in Japan. But I'll be honest, I haven't seen it in stores. Not that I've been going to buy it, but I always poke around the video game section whenever I'm at a place that sells video games, and I don't think I've ever seen a copy of Ring Fit Adventure.
I'd love to see some sales numbers, because it's probably I imagine they didn't make a shit ton for
ship
Japan.
A ton, yeah.
But it's I think they completely underestimated the demand for it in Japan specifically. Especially because I feel like the majority of people that play their Switch in Japan are playing it handheld and portably. So I think they just kind of didn't expect it to, a home console kind of exclusive game.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can take it with you, but I would never want to bring my ring con
and play
to a
tabletop
hotel
ring,
or on the bus. Or,
Ring Fit Adventure.
I'd give that a shot.
Yeah, if you think you look stupid in your own house playing Ring Fit Adventure, you look really stupid on a bullet train.
What is shame?
Yeah. Tencent probably. We don't know when. Sometime the day this episode's releasing is going to make an announcement related to their Switch launch. Probably, so they're making some sort of Switch announcement. And there's been kind of rumored, and this is we've talked about this before, but Tencent is the Chinese company that is going to be handling Nintendo Switch sales and that kind of thing, and helping out in China. And they are going to probably launch, the rumor is December 10th, but we will find out soon and probably report back on that.
Launch Switch sales in China on the
it's
10th?
not officially happened yet.
Yeah.
So the rumor is it's about to happen, and they're making some sort of announcement on the day this comes out. So that could be another thing that pushes that 100 million end of lifespan Switch, if they really can break into China and have a lot of sales there.
Did any of y'all see the Tencent produced film A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood?
No, what is that?
No, I didn't either.
They produced that film?
It's the Fred Rogers movie.
Oh, they were involved in...
They're the main money behind the movie.
They got their tentacles in a lot of different
Did they also do the Mission Impossible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Mission Impossible?
The newest one.
What was that? Fallout?
Fallout.
Ghost?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't the newest one. Fallout.
Fallout was.
Probably Fallout.
Mission Impossible Fallout Theater.
Fred Rogers
little Austin
Fallout.
humor for you.
Mr. Rogers Fallout.
But they're not putting they don't have publisher screens on there where it's Tencent presents. They don't have that.
Well, it says at the beginning of the movie, it's Tencent, in the trailer. It says
Are you
Tencent.
kidding me?
Yeah, no, seriously.
I need to watch this again because I'm not seeing that. I would have seen that. I feel like
You're just not familiar with the Tencent brand. Dude.
I guess not.
They've done a good job of getting their hands on lots of things without people realizing it.
You guys got the new streaming service Tencent Plus, right?
It's great.
My whole childhood's on that.
I love Baby Yoga.
Oh, can we talk about Baby Yoda on the podcast?
Of course.
Yeah.
I think at this point it's all over the internet.
Yeah. There's no not spoiling that.
Well, a last bit of news, and the most significant for me personally,
Same.
is that Super Mario Maker 2, just the other day, they announced version 2.0, which is coming on December 5th, so just a day or so after this comes out.
Tomorrow, if you're listening the day it comes out.
That's right.
Patrick, this proves your theory.
Yeah, so I think I had talked about this. I'm not sure if I talked about it on the podcast or just casually with y'all or what have you, that I really felt like we all knew a big update was coming to Mario Maker 2 because... they announced the Friends update was going to happen, which I think was in response to all the criticism. That was sort of a not planned update, stupidly. And then we all knew so some sort of big update was going to come because of the whole themes thing, and we all thought it might be a new theme. I really thought they were going to do it right before the holidays, and I even thought they'd do it before Black Friday. But here it is, right before the holidays. So maybe if people were holding out on Mario Maker 2, I think this could attract a lot of people.
Yeah, I do know a lot of people that didn't buy Mario Maker 2 because you couldn't play as Link.
Now you can.
And you can shoot your arrows not in one direction, but three.
If
If it had just been one, they wouldn't have bought it.
Yeah.
Loaded up that game. I was like, can't wait to play Link.
You were sorely disappointed.
Can't wait to defeat Ganon in Super Mario Maker 2.
So obviously, as we've just talked about, the biggest and the most exciting update part is that in the regular Mario Brothers theme, you can add a Master Sword power up, and you can play as Link, but it's not just a cosmetic costume. You can have the sword, the shield, a dash attack, arrows, bombs. It's nuts.
It's like a ground pound move.
Yeah,
the
it's
down,
like down stab
the down,
or whatever from Zelda
I didn't
2.
mention that one. Yeah, you're right. The down A or whatever. I'm thinking of it like a
smash game.
Yeah, like a smash attack, but it feels like it. But so this is gonna be crazy to see what people do with this, because it's gonna change everything. I mean, and I just think it's so cool that this is happening, and it also brings up the question of like, will there be more updates like this? Will we see? The obvious choice to me is Samus could have a lot of. Like, you could do the same thing with other Nintendo characters.
So my question is, did they remove amiibo costumes because they were planning on doing this?
Yeah.
Or did they do this because people were pissed off that they removed amiibo costumes?
I don't think they did this because people
situation.
were pissed off.
Yeah.
I don't think Nintendo sometimes does stuff because people were pissed off, but this feels like they would have just added back in amiibo costumes, right? This feels like something that took a lot of work and was planned as a big surprise. It's just so weird to me because like we've all been like, when's Zelda Maker gonna come? Why don't they make a Zelda Maker?
Right.
And this isn't quite that though.
This is like a Zelda 2 Maker.
It's a weird like
it's the weird Zelda.
Yeah.
with the Mario enemies.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's Link's Awakening.
Meets Zelda 2. There's also a bunch of other updates that are really cool. Spike, Pokey, Frozen Coins, P-Blocks, dash blocks in 3D World, and then there's a whole new mode of ninja speed runs, which is maybe the least exciting thing.
I'm actually
You
that's
excited
kind
about
of
that
my
one?
most
That's
excited
cool. Those
thing.
are
really?
like ghost runs.
Talk to me about why you're excited about that.
Well, it looks kind of like a combination, and ABK and I were talking about this on the Facebook group, but it's kind of like a combination between that, remember that Mario 99 or whatever they called it, Mario
Yeah, the
100?
Mario Battle Royale
DMCA Battle Royale, they changed it to once they couldn't use Mario anymore. But basically it was like 100 Marios on screen at once. But then it's kind of a combination of that, and like Super Meat Boy, like whenever you beat a level and it shows all your like attempts beforehand, it's basically just like 50 ghosts on screen of other people that are trying to do it, and you have to be like faster than all the ghosts. And it looks really fun. You know, it's not like the DMCA Battle Royale because you can't interact with the ghosts. They're just kind of like visages of people on the screen, but it just looks like a new fun mode that refreshes every week, and it's Nintendo curated levels, which I think is going to be pretty cool.
So, getting into some speculation.
Yeah.
Do you think that they will do another release with, or another version with a big update, or you think this is the main update for Mario Maker 2?
Absolutely, this is not the main update.
Do you think that it will be like this, like another power up for being another character?
Well, we still need additional themes.
You think we're going to get another theme still?
Yeah, it
hope
says
so.
styles plural with like a big hole next to the one additional style. You know what I mean? So it's coming at some point. I think they just aren't ready for it yet, and that'll probably come in 3.0, I guess.
My sort of speculation too is this seems like a very snow-based update. Maybe because it's coming around Christmas time. I feel like I'm wondering if they'll do another one that will be very desert based or something like that, you know,
for like summer or
or just the next update might have, because it feels like there's so many things that are unique if you do them in the winter theme. And I'm kind of wondering if we'll get something similar, like we'll get another character or a theme, and then also like several enemies that interact specifically with a specific like desert or cave or whatever.
But maybe something you could do like seasonally.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think either way, it does feel like a winter update sort of thing to me. You know what I mean? Like when you, like in cell phone games, and like all of a sudden your character like wears a Santa hat. But it's like kind of feels like that to me. Either way, though, I'm very excited. I think even if they just added Spike, with like his balls,
Spike's got a lot.
I think that like that alone would have been a huge update that would have cascaded into all these different new kinds of levels. So I think just adding like the 5 items they're doing plus this Master Sword thing is going to completely change the game.
I'm excited too because I've kind of drifted a little bit away from it, and I'm coming back. And I think that's true for a lot of people.
I played your level the other day.
Yeah, I did have one new one just the other day.
It was really fun.
Oh, thanks.
Did you see my comment?
I did. I always see your comments. I appreciate it. Just a little Dave and Patrick moment here.
Yeah. I check Mario Maker, the people I follow, pretty much every other day.
You're on top of my levels whenever I put them out. But I was going to say something and I totally lost track of it, but that's okay because you just said you liked my Mario Maker level, so I'll be happy.
You guys can't tell, but he's blushing.
He's blushing.
Stop everything.
This is now a podcast where we compliment your Mario Maker levels.
Also, I'm really curious to see what so this is what my point was going to be. People on that I follow on Twitch that play Mario Maker have been kind of drifting away too.
Sure, like Boo Bear.
Yeah, like Barbarous King Barb. He was starting to play a lot of ROM hacks recently, just in the last week or so. And he's like, oh, I guess I'll.
Ryukar has been going back to Mario Maker 1 for a lot of his videos recently. Yeah.
So this will definitely swing it right back.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be really curious to see what those people of that skill level are going to do with the Link costume.
Yeah. I think we're going to be seeing tons of unique like the Link thing makes those levels. You can make like a really unique gameplay with that. You know what I mean? Like nothing we've seen before. So like, be that like Link's crossbow training style levels or whatever with the bow and arrow, like we're going to be seeing a lot of really cool shit.
Yeah. So. There's going to be a lot of that where you can just put stuff on tracks and try to hit coins with the arrows.
I'm not quite looking forward to hearing the same two NES Zelda songs over and over again because it's not in Mario World style or Mario 3 style. It's only in the NES Mario style.
Song.
Yeah. So that's annoying. But other than that, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'll just listen to a podcast or something.
Cool. Well, that's the news and rumors and what have you for the week. We're going to get into our main topic in just a second. All right, we're back. So we're going to be talking about sort of speculation about what other studios and developers and what have you we think Nintendo should work with. Because recently, in the last, couple years, Ubisoft has done a couple of Mario, like the Mario and Rabbids game. They put Star Fox into their Starlink game. The Cadence of Hyrule game came out. Nintendo just published a game. I forget who the developer was. The Stretchers game. Right. Like they've been working with people that they don't own.
It's the Little Nightmares developers, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like I should have put their name in here. Yeah. I meant to look it up before I got over here, but I forgot to. So
it's okay.
Yep.
And also, they're working with Tencent to expand their business into China. They're working with Illumination to do a Mario movie.
That's right.
So they're working with Universal Studios to have a theme park. They're expanding in all these interesting ways. So we thought we might talk about specifically games, but maybe we'll get into some of that other out there stuff. And who do we want them to work with? What would we want them to do? That kind of stuff. I just mentioned Tencent, and I just kind of wanted to start off with that one because we've talked about that Tencent wants to make Nintendo games, and we're like, no, right? That's sort of the general consensus.
Well, here's the thing, because I feel like, and I've done very little research on Tencent, but now I feel like I should do a lot because I guess they're eating everything.
Yeah.
Did they make League of Legends, or did they just buy the studio that made League of Legends?
They bought Riot Games.
Yeah. They bought the controlling stake.
Right.
Like 51% or whatever.
And that seems to be their strategy. And that's why it's not exciting to think about them making something, because it's like the way they approach everything is to just buy their way into it.
Yeah.
Sure. And they have like a game development division. You know what I mean? But it's like mostly known for like gacha style, like microtransaction laden mobile games.
That's what I know them for.
Right.
Yeah. I can't figure out if they're as like morally bankrupt as Amazon might be, but they're somewhere along like Amazon or Google as far as like having so much money they can just kind of buy you out. They don't care about anything else.
And I can see them wanting to work with Tencent just because, as we discussed with Mario Kart, maybe they aren't great at these cell phone games, where you need microtransactions and things like that.
Yeah. And it's the market. Like you can't turn down the Chinese market, Yeah. It's like the huge untapped oil well for Nintendo right now.
And is this the trade-off they'll have to make?
Right.
Yeah.
So like that's an example of somebody where at least wary of them working with, if not outright don't want them to. Let's just get into who we do want Nintendo to work with.
Sure.
So like I said, there's been some examples of both indies and AAA studios. Maybe we can start with AAA studios. Are there any AAA studios, big names in the video game world that you would think would be cool for Nintendo to partner with? And any thoughts about what?
So I'm going to talk for a second because this was like a difficult question for me.
Yeah.
Because
it's a tough topic.
It is.
I was being too realistic.
Oh,
I
yeah.
probably could have been far
can-
less realistic than I was.
Let's do both, you know, or
Yeah.
or you
Well, that's
take
the
the
thing, it's
realistic edge. I think Matt's about to take a very
Yeah.
crazy edge
I'm
based
one-
on what
yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen.
I'm one of those people where it's like, yeah, if Nintendo asked Jonathan Blow to make a game, would he just tell them to fuck off because he's not a sellout? Like, it's one of those things. And so it occurred. So what I'm thinking going through this is just like, well, what studio would have like a fresh take on existing Nintendo IP? Because I feel like that's kind of, So if Nintendo wanted to do an open world game that was like not Zelda, like doing something with Metroid where like you have access to basically the whole map right away.
Right.
But a 3D game, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like a 3D game. Like something, like a studio like Rockstar, or better yet, Rocksteady, would probably be a pretty good studio for that kind of thing, because I feel like they've got a good handle on, like, using a property, because they did it with Batman and Spider-Man.
That's right.
And then, just turning that into like a very decent open world game. Or sandbox game. What do we
I think Rocksteady is a great choice.
Yeah.
I think that they would do really good work. I don't know what IP I would necessarily want them to go with.
Like, maybe not Metroid. I mean, I hate saying Star Fox, because last time I was here, we were just like, anything that's not in the ship.
But what about
Star Fox?
Wings?
I think Star Fox could be really cool.
Yeah,
I think
and you could do the ship. I mean, I don't know if people liked Arkham Knight, but they utilized the Batmobile pretty well in Arkham Knight. I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, you can stay in the ship, but like go to different planets and stuff. You know what I mean?
Well,
Or, like,
that's funny. That's kind of what Battle for Atlas did, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like that was
Starlink.
Starlink. I always forget the name of that because it's like Star Fox and Link.
And
anyway, but it's like that was kind of a complaint I heard about that game, is that it's like it feels like a 3D platformer, but you're in a ship the whole time, so it felt a little awkward.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like they did Star Fox better than Nintendo has done Star Fox for the past 10 years at least. So it's like not that bad of an idea. I think Star Fox is a really good IP for them.
Maybe. Like, Metroid was my first thought, because I was just like, that, it tracks a little better.
Sure. Yeah.
But who knows?
you had Rockstar on.
I also
the
had.
list.
Yeah, I think Rockstar puts so few games out in a 5 or 6 year span, especially what they've been doing with Grand Theft Auto 5. They're just doing like GTA Online and putting DLC. Mm-hmm. I don't even know what Rockstar could work on.
Yeah, I also feel like
I
they're
think
so
like a
grown-
Waluigi focused game.
Well, they're so
Finally.
So it's just Grand Theft Auto 4 with Waluigi.
Waluigi, my cousin.
Hey, to Lubu's point, like I feel like Rockstar is very grown up or adult. Like I mean, all their games are more violent and all that than Nintendo typically is. So that feels like a hard one for me to wrap my brain around.
You know what? Honestly, if Rockstar would do a game, it would be a Waluigi game.
Well, I think if there's,
he's the grittiest one.
I agree. I think but I think if you're going to do a Waluigi game, you got to make a dating sim. I've been thinking about that for a while, personally.
What studio makes dating sims? That's a good pitch.
Atlas does a lot of dating style stuff in
you're
their
right.
games. Yeah, I think
Nintendo with Fire Emblem.
Although it's like I don't think I'm ready for that much lore in the Mario universe.
Well, that's what's interesting too. I think about thinking about Western publishers, especially, and
Right.
just like that Nintendo doesn't do story very much, and that a lot of other studios do, and that it would be really. I almost think good to see like that's where I feel like Rockstar or something could do a good job is like they could take great Nintendo gameplay and give it good like lore and story maybe or some other developer.
see,
Well, that's a good
sorry.
point, because it's just like Metroid didn't go hard on the lore until
Retro got into
a hold
it.
of it, and
Yeah.
then they did like Team Ninja did that game, which was pretty story.
Other M.
Other M.
Yeah,
Other M was
yeah.
pretty story-ish.
That game sucked, but at least they were trying to do something with lore. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was a fresh take, but it was also one of those takes where it's like, you could have just done a.
Yeah, it was also kind of problematic as far as like degrading Samus as a character.
Really,
You
I
know
need
what
to
mean?
go back and look at that again.
Yeah, it's
been so long.
not a great look. But I think like if you're talking about that kind of stuff, because I agree with you, that was kind of where my mind first went, was that like retro has always been so focused on lore, almost to the complete opposite of what Nintendo usually does, right? Like the Metroid Prime games are so filled with it. And so I think it'd be cool to see like Armature or something like that, some of these ex-retro guys take like, I know there was a long time ago, Miyamoto had like mentioned something about how he would like to see retro take on like a Zelda game or something like that.
Oh, that'd
but
be
it's like,
crazy.
yeah, I think that'd be cool. But it's like a lot of these old Metroid Prime guys that are still here in Austin and still making games. Like I'd love to see them take on like another franchise and fill it with lore. You know what I mean? Because I think that there's something to it, and they did such a great job with it, and a great way of integrating the lore into the gameplay.
Let's get that lore and that deep, deep well of lore from Excitebike.
Yeah,
Yes.
that could be cool. I don't know. I always go back to Star Fox personally. I think like Star Fox has such an established universe and characters, and you could really do a deep dive into that as long as you're okay with playing as furries. And it's like, I just think that's like, it's such an untapped well that I would, that's why I was so excited about this Star Fox Grand Prix game. Like the idea behind it, like just sounded amazing.
Yeah, and Star Fox, that's the same story over and over again.
Yeah, so let's get something new in it.
That's the Mario or the Nintendo problem. The Mario, Zelda, Star Fox, they don't do story. They just they tell the same story over and over again.
Right.
But their gameplay is so fantastic.
Yeah, like Zelda's the best with that. But even Breath of the Wild, which is like the largest game I've ever
That's
played,
very light
ever,
on story. Yeah.
is like super sparse with story.
Yeah.
Well,
I've got another.
You go. I've got one too before we move on. But
Well, I've got another
Stoner's got
potential, a potential AAA studio that
Let's
I'd like
hear
to
it.
see some stuff. And this is kind of sticking with Austin Studios again. But Blue Point Games, who did the remake of what's that?
Shadow of the
Yeah,
Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus, and they did a great job of like bringing that game, which was already wonderful to begin with, but into the modern era. And I'd love to see them take on, like, I think that like that would be a good like third party development studio that could do a great open world game.
Yeah, that was
You know what I mean?
pretty game.
Yeah,
I
it
played
was
on
gorgeous.
PS4. That was
And I
pretty.
really want to know what they're working on right now. I've got theories that it's something Metal Gear related, but I don't actually know if that's true.
I would like to see Blue Point work on something, what they did for Shadow of the Colossus on something like Twilight Princess.
Sure.
Something that has like a dark texture and dark story.
Right.
But can like increase the resolution
Yeah,
of some of the
for
animations.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they've proven they can do remakes, and I'm sure they just want to work on new stuff. But it's like, keep making remakes if you're so good at it, You had one, Patrick?
Yeah, I've got one. Then let's get to some of Matt's. I think it'd be great if they worked with Square and did a Super Mario RPG sequel.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I also think like Nintendo just doesn't do traditional like RPGs very much. I think it'd be great if they worked with somebody. The obvious choice is like Blizzard or somebody to do like an MMORPG. Like, what would a Nintendo MMORPG look like?
Pokemon.
But like Pokemon. I mean, but that's not really like.
Well, you just hate Pokemon.
I don't hate it.
It is. I'll say it's the closest they are right now to something that's like an MMO.
Right.
That's fair. But I would like to see something, maybe a new IP or something. Even,
Or Splatoon.
You know what I mean? Like
You could do Splatoon, like expand the Splatoon world. a little bit.
Yeah, if you did that.
Yeah.
But I just think it'd be cool because I think that genre, like Nintendo could really Nintendo that genre. In a way that would be really interesting, I think.
Yeah, in the same way that they Nintendoed open world games with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, or third person shooters with the Splatoon or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was, and also like Ubisoft needs to make Mario and Rabbids too. But
Yeah, I mean, I would also be okay. You were talking about Square going back and
Yeah.
working with Nintendo again for a Mario RPG. I would be totally okay with Ubisoft and the Mario and Rabbids team taking on a Mario RPG title.
Oh yeah, that could work too.
I think that they would do a great job with it. I think that it's like, obviously this is strategy and not RPG, Mario and Rabbids, but they like showed that they have reverence for the Mario universe, right? And I think that, it's about Rabbids, but still that game story was like intriguing, and I bought into it and I thought it was really fun. So
Yeah.
I'd like to see them take on an RPG.
Yeah, and plus it's like Nintendo's version of RPG wasn't like I wasn't super into it Because I remember Mario RPG came out. I was like, this is awesome. I came, oh, this is so great. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, all right, we're going to do something similar. And then Paper Mario came out. I was like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
Like, this is fine, but this ain't it.
Yeah. It's very different. Yeah. Did you have something, Matt?
I
just
have I have a few suggestions. Just kind of batting for the people.
Swinging for the fences?
Swinging for the fences. That's
Batting
it.
for the balls.
So I have Midway.
I think that's a great call.
So I say Midway mostly because I would love to see some more arcade action oriented Mario games. So for a while there, we got, Super Mario Strikers, Mario Tennis, that basketball game for the DS, 3DS.
Hoops. I think.
Yeah. The Mario one.
Right. Wasn't that Mario Hoops?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know. Is it with the hoops with a Z?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Mario Hoop Star Challenge.
But I would love to see something like NBA Jam or NFL Blitz or any of the arcade type games work on with a Nintendo franchise.
Yeah.
So that could be a conglomerate of all of the characters.
Did they do Cruising with Nintendo?
Yeah, they did Cruising.
Is Midway still making games though?
That's a fair question. They make Mortal Kombat, but
So they publish Mortal
it.
Kombat. Yeah, I think Mortal Kombat's Neversoft is developed by Neversoft.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. But Cruisin', they did I think Nintendo did the publishing and then Midway did like the the hardware stuff.
Yeah, they were like on it. They were on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mario. David just showed me Mario Hoops 3-on-3.
Mario Hoops 3-on-3. That's what it's called. Yeah. But I think it's the only Mario sports game out there right now is Mario Tennis, which I love. But it's like we need more Mario sports games for sure.
Yep. I would love to see a revisit of any skateboard game or a snowboard game. Because N64 had so many snowboard games.
Yeah.
We had, or that era, we had Cool Borders and 1080.
1080 to
kids.
somebody, yeah.
Snowboard kids, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a question that kind of ties into the last time we had you on too, right?
definitely.
But like that's why
we get you on for the speculation episode.
I come around when snowboarding is.
But like I feel like Nintendo has so many IPs that are dormant that like other studios could handle really well, and that's why this is an
instead of them just
question.
sitting on it and letting them die. So I've got a couple that are like indie studios. Can we move on to that?
Let's do indie.
Okay, yeah, I've got a couple.
So I would love to see. First of all, I'm gonna say mine now because I'm afraid someone else is gonna say it. I want Shannon, who just came out with The Tourist and made Fast RMX, to make an F-Zero game
with bounty hunting.
Oh yeah,
if that's what it takes. If that's what it takes, then I'll take it.
He's going to get out of the car, right? Bounty hunter?
Well, but here's the deal. So I've been giving the bounty hunter aspect of F-Zero quite a bit of thought. And I think that Shannon would be a really good company to do this because they've proven that they can do really fast hover racing with the Fast RMX series. Like Fast and Fast RMX were both amazing games. They don't have the same kind of speed as F-Zero does. Like, for instance, I was actually watching a bunch of F-Zero GX videos today when I was at work. And that game was made by Amusement Vision, the same people who made Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2. And, and they did F-Zero GX and F-Zero AX, the arcade version of the same game. And those games had incredible speed, right? It was breakneck and it had this like total vibe to it. I think that like, that's what Shannon is missing a little bit is like that kind of whacked out like monkey ball, like techno flair that like Amusement Vision had. But I think what they have done recently with The Tourist, which I haven't played personally, but I've been watching a lot of videos on it because I really appreciate Shannon as a development house. Like The Tourist looks really, really cool. And it's like a kind of puzzle adventure game where you're walking around a lot and figuring out puzzles and stuff like that. And I think that if they were able to blend those two kind of things, I think that it could work.
What if you were Captain Falcon and you were walking around finding clues because you're a bounty hunter?
I mean,
and then what if, right? What if?
I will take any fucking F-Zero game at this point. The thing is, it has to have racing.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah,
of course. And it's like got to have that fast-paced shit, and it can't
bounty
like
hunting too.
like as long as I can like just not do those sections.
You can skip it like in Fire Emblem.
Those are not skippable scenes.
Yeah. But I mean, like basically a game that sounds like this Star Fox Grand Prix game sounded.
Right.
You know, where it's like got combat and it's got exploration, but it's also got like breakneck racing. Like I think Shannon would be a really good developer for that.
I'll go.
What indie studio do you want?
Yeah, I was going to say Frictional Games. They made Amnesia.
Yeah.
I would love to see Frictional work on Eternal Darkness.
Yeah. That's
Bring
great.
back that franchise since Frictional did such a good job of like all you do was hide. Did you guys play Amnesia?
I played that
Dark
and
Descent?
Penumbra as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just like run from a dude and hide in closets or like under beds. And I would love to see a similar gameplay style like that in the Eternal Darkness.
And they did Soma as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soma was really cool. And like that's a great way to tell a story. Like I could see them telling a really good story with the Eternal Darkness franchise.
Yeah, that's good. That's better than the one I had that was like a similar idea, but it was Bloober Team. But the thing is, it's just like
What is that?
Bloober Teams does kind of the same vein of stuff as Amnesia. They did Observer.
Okay, right.
yeah.
They did that one where you're in like the Victorian house and it changes. They did Blair Witch too, and Blair Witch was not good.
Right.
It's one of those things where Nintendo has to like swoop in and like do some changes in terms of just like you could have made this game a little better. You know. But
That's what I think is cool about this idea, right? Is that like some indie developer that has ideas but maybe not the follow through or whatever,
Yeah.
and then Nintendo could help them.
Yeah. I would enjoy something like that where if Nintendo like came in and basically cleaned up Bloober Team. Because Observer I loved Observer. Just because it was so like it was such a crazy idea.
It was good at world building and like storytelling.
Yeah. The way the story was told, because you're inside someone's head, but you have to piece things together.
Right.
It's like interesting.
My choice for indie developer for Nintendo to work with is just one guy, Greg Lobanov. He's the guy that did Wander Song and the upcoming game Chicory, which was originally known as Draw Dog, which I'm excited about. Who knows how far out it is. But what I really like about him, I think that's how you say his name. I've never heard anybody say it. Lobanov, something like that.
Labanov.
Is that he's really into sort of new like mechanics and also kind of like non-violent games, like making interesting games that don't involve combat. And I think there's something very Nintendo-y about those things. But you know, he's an indie developer, so the games don't have like shit tons of polish or whatever, you know what I mean? And I think like
it's like one guy for the most part.
Yeah, it's mostly him. He has like a small team,
right.
But like for those games, but like it's mostly him. And so I think that would be really cool. And just quick shout out, Eurogamer did an article really recently, just like a week ago, about not just about him, but it was a lot of him about sort of like games that don't have violent combat in them and indie games that you can go check out. That's really interesting because I think that's an interesting topic.
Do you have an IP you would want him to work on, or just you'd like to see him work on something
I'd like
new?
to see him work with Nintendo and have a nice budget.
Right,
and you know what I mean?
right.
And
Yeah,
and like they could. I feel like there's a real synergy. Or I'm using the word fucking synergy, but like
fair word.
there's a
Business term.
It's saturated our like regular speak. I feel like, but like I feel like they have the same sort of philosophy in a lot of ways, but he doesn't have the like money or whatever. You know what I mean?
Or
like,
the time to put a bunch of polish into it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's interesting. I'd like to see something like that for sure.
Anybody else got any other indie devs they want to see?
I would be interested to see what happened if you pumped some more resources into Playdead.
Yeah.
Tell me about the games that they work on.
what's
Playdead did Limbo and Inside.
Oh, right.
Okay.
I could see that.
Yeah, because that's
Starring Waluigi.
yes. That's actually, I was thinking, a less gritty Waluigi game that's like still pretty creepy. Playdead could probably do that. Because that's just like solid platforming. Like the puzzles aren't incredibly difficult, but they're still like very rewarding to solve. So
Simple and efficient storytelling in those games.
Yeah. No dialogue. You just you kind of gather what's happening.
Right. That's a fantastic studio. I just want to play whatever they do next. And both of those games are on Switch now as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a really good pick. I think I've got one here that is like kind of obvious that probably doesn't even need to be said. But Shigesato Itoi, has come out and said that he's no longer making Mother games and they're not going to make a Mother 4. So just give the fucking series to Toby Fox. Seriously. Seriously.
That actually makes sense.
And Toby Fox is in bed with Nintendo right now. He did music for Pokemon Sword and Shield. He helped out with music for Town. Award-winning Game of the Year Town.
He beat Sakurai at Smash Brothers.
He beat Sakurai at Smash Brothers. He's like a Nintendo boy. He's like a celebrity in Japan. He's on the cover of magazines and shit. Like I think that Nintendo is grooming him to work on Nintendo IP, and I think it obviously makes sense for him to work on a new Mother game.
He's at that status.
Yeah.
The issue is, does Toei own that IP?
Yeah, but he has also said that he is more than happy for someone else to take it over.
Okay.
He basically was like, I have nothing else that I can do with the franchise. Basically. And he's like, my team has nothing else that we can do with the franchise. It would be impossible for us to work on it. He said that. But he also said in that same interview that like he would be happy to not see those characters go away and to see that world go away. And I think that clearly Undertale is like basically a Mother game, you know? I mean, it's like a Mother parody kind of.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I think that would be an awesome fit. And I think that is not only something that would be good, I think that's kind of inevitable.
Did anybody else have any other ones? I'm looking at you, Matt, because you had one written down.
The biggest one I can think of from an indie developer, I'm thinking of like platform. I would say Jackbox games, because I would go to like parties with my non-gamer friends, and people would play Jackbox because it's so accessible. You can play it on your smart TV, on your smartphone, or your game console, or your Roku. And everyone has a smartphone. You just play from there. I would love to see a series of Nintendo mini games. And there's like 6 Jackbox packs.
Yeah. They're all really fun.
And they're all super fun. But like the platform that you can play the game from your phone makes it accessible to everyone, because you don't have to like figure out controllers or plug in controllers or figure out batteries.
It would make Tencent happy.
I bet you could do a version of Mario Party using that system.
Oh, that's an
agree.
interesting idea.
I agree. I
That
think
would
it's
be
an
great.
excellent idea. Yeah.
Yeah, just make the screen like just 1 or 2 or 3 buttons.
Yeah.
Mario Party is a fun series, and the new Mario Party is still fun, but it's tired at this point, the formula. And I think like shaking something up with that is a really good idea.
I also think just the people are tired of how many of them there are.
Yeah.
Right. One person or one indie studio you had on your list that I also thought of was House, because for the same reason that I pitched Greg Lobanov, that like that sort of joyful gameplay that's kind of outside of traditional, other games that have like
House's Untitled Goose Game.
yes.
Right. Soon to be Subway Fresh Award recipient for Indie Studio of the Year at the Game Awards. That's my prediction.
I could see that being a fruitful partnership as well.
And they might do some good stuff with Pikmin.
Ooh, that's an interesting
That
idea.
is fucking good idea right there.
Nice.
I would also love to see same concept of Untitled Goose Game, but you are Waluigi doing pranks.
Or a duck hunt game that House makes where you get to finally play as the duck.
And get your revenge.
I mean, I'm sure they want to move away from waterfowl at this point.
Untitled Duck Hunt game.
Well, before we move on, I think we talked about games. Is there anybody you could see Nintendo partnering with outside of games to like for movies or anything else? I mean, obviously for me, it's like I would love for Nintendo to partner with somebody to fix their online, like Microsoft or somebody to like, or somebody to write their netcode better or something.
Yeah.
Like that's the one that I can see. Like somebody that knows how to write good netcode and have a good online system.
Needs work.
But like, is Illumination a good studio for Mario movie? Or
I mean, they do the rabbits of cinema.
Yeah,
Which are the minions. so.
the
Yeah, they
yellow
do it.
guys.
That's what they do is Despicable Me.
Yeah. And Secret Life of Pets and all that kind of stuff.
If I had my druthers, I would have gone with Blue Sky.
Yeah, I agree.
Because
I love Blue Sky.
I was one of those people that was like, because they're just good with, like, I don't know if they're good with like original work, but they're baller with IP. I was just like, this Peanuts movie is going to suck.
Yeah.
And then I watched it, I was like, this is fucking amazing. This is
And
a Peanuts movie.
the animation is incredible too.
Yeah,
at Blue
and
Sky.
I'm just like, this is, they nailed the tone, which is difficult.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical of a Mario movie, period, for the reason we were talking about earlier. If there's no story to Mario, right? Like, what are they going to do?
Well, I think that, if they can do the Sonic movie.
There's not a lot of story to Sonic
That's
either.
if they
I'm kind of joking there, but yeah.
if they do the Mario movie like they do the Sonic movie, I will not be.
And as far as I understand, there's no live action element to this Mario movie. It's going to be a completely CG movie set in the Mushroom Kingdom. You know what I mean? So like that, I think
That, as it should
honestly, I'm not too concerned about the Illumination Mario movie. I think that it probably can be very good. I think that I liked the Mario cartoon when I was a kid, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yeah.
I watched the shit out of that when I was a kid. And it's probably not aged super well, but it was also the 80s. Like everything.
I watched a little bit of it with my son. It's all right.
Yeah. So I think that there's stories you can tell, and I think Mario can talk. And it'd be nice for Charles Martinet to actually have some dialogue.
God, I hope that he is the voice of Mario in that movie.
He'll be Mario until he's dead.
And Luigi.
And
Wario.
And Wario.
Well,
That's the thing. I think as long as you expand that universe, I think you've got some good character interplay.
Mm-hmm.
It can't just be if you throw Wario in there, that's probably a decent idea. Bowser's probably the antagonist or whatever.
Right.
Or Smithy. But just throwing the ancillary characters in there too, because they have good bits and they're funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like Wario, Waluigi, or Daisy.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong, make it an ensemble piece is my
I'd like to see
theory.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there any other movies or TV? Hasn't there been a Legend of Zelda rumor?
There's been a rumor about a series of Legend of Zelda for Netflix for a while,
like a Netflix original.
Yeah, but I think that is just fans wanting it to happen. That having been said, I think it'd be a great idea.
Netflix would be a good place for it.
We've seen some good success recently with video game related anime. Look at Castlevania. Castlevania is if you get good writers and a good studio on it, it turns out really, really well. I think that Zelda would be good for that. I think also Metroid would make a fine anime.
Oh yeah,
totally.
Yeah. I think you could do a really, really cool. I think you could do a great live action Metroid. But I think that if you want to dip your toe into Nintendo partnering with different writers to expand lore on games, I think a Metroid anime would be fucking sick. Yeah.
I do want to see what they do with The Witcher.
Oh yeah.
That's probably going to be their big test of just is video game IP really going to work for us?
For live action.
For live action, yeah. Because I don't think they'd do an anime Zelda. I think they would, if they were going to do it, they'd probably try to do a live action.
Oh, you think so? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
See that, man, hearing Link talk would be very
weird,
unsettling.
yeah.
Because he already sounds weird, just hearing his yells.
I think that they should stick with animation for now. They've done some Pikmin animated stuff, which Miyamoto himself directed, and I think that there's a lot of. I think it's a good way for them to get the stink of Super Mario Brothers the movie off of them, because I think that stink still permeates Nintendo, and they don't want to fuck with it.
Yeah, doing live action Mario is a mistake.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the easiest translation from all of these franchises is Splatoon. Splatoon is already a manga in itself.
Yeah.
Those characters, the way they talk, their fashion, you can easily...
Aren't there Splatoon mangas?
Probably.
I think
probably.
there might be.
There might be, yeah.
I would watch the shit out of a Splatoon anime. I'm saying that right now.
Yeah.
I would watch the shit out of that. I think it would be awesome. I just think that world is really interesting and unique, and you could do such fun, cool, interesting stuff with that.
Yeah, you can sell cool merch too.
Yeah.
All right, cool. We've talked a lot, so we should probably move on. In a second, we will talk about what we've been playing, right?
What we've been playing.
Cool. So it's the part of the show where we talk about the video games we've been playing recently.
If you're tuning back in, you successfully landed the plane.
So who wants to go first?
I'll go first this week, if that's all right with everybody else.
Yeah.
I picked up a couple games during the Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale that Nintendo did in the eShop. One of the games I picked up was this game called 20XX. Which is basically it's a game that I've been eyeing in the eShop for a while. I was kind of going back and forth between this and Dragon Ball Fighter Z and a couple other games. I ended up going with this game, and it's awesome. It's basically a Mega Man X roguelike. So every time you play, it's slightly different, but it just has that really tight control and platforming that Mega Man X has. And so I'm really enjoying this game a lot right now. And it has couch co-op.
How's the
as
music?
Well. The music is awesome.
Does that have a banger like Chill Penguin?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like as good as like Mega Man, because like Mega Man X especially has that kind of like metal soundtrack or like the kind of like hard rock soundtrack. This is a little bit more like classic Mega Man music in it, like more chiptune stuff.
Okay.
But it's still really great. Yeah. Yeah, it's been surprisingly taking over a lot of my time. I've been really enjoying that game a lot. And then a couple others, I've been kind of going back to, Binding of Isaac a little bit, was playing that some today. Always playing some Tetris, always playing some Mario Maker. But I also picked up for the first time, well, and I didn't buy this actually. This was, Sasha picked up this game and I've been playing her copy, of Ori and the Blind Forest for the Switch.
Nice.
Yeah, and I had never actually played this game before. And I, started it recently, like finished the prologue and got a little bit into the first part of the game. And man, that game is a fucking gut punch, like right off the bat.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, it's like the first 15 minutes of Up, basically, is like the beginning of that game. Ooh. Yeah, it's really intense. But man, it's beautiful. And I'm having a ton of fun with it. I can't wait to play more.
Cool. Anybody who's going next?
I'll go. So last time I was here, I was playing an Xbox game. This time it's a PS4 game. Actually, I just finished it. I just bought Pokemon, which I'll mention in a second. But I just finished Death Stranding.
Oh, okay.
You finished
Me
it.
too.
Yeah.
I finished it last week.
It was good. I liked it. But also, it's one of those things where it's not Metal Gear Solid 5 where I wanted to do every mission.
Right.
Like with this, it's repetitive enough gameplay where it's like I finished the game and I'm like, okay, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
But also like classic Kojima, like really creating good moments and then fucking them up. Okay? And I shared this with you guys, that Mario and Princess Peach thing.
Yes, I watched that.
Like that was, you know, in the context of the game, if you'd have played the game, you'd have known that like he went all this way to find her and he's like, he feels a little betrayed and they have to work this out. And it's like a good touching scene. And then Mario and Princess Peach, and I'm just like, you ruined it.
Yeah.
You stupid man, you ruined
Well,
that.
I can see what you're saying because
yeah.
I watched that clip when you posted it because I have no plans to play this game.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was almost the reference worked, and then they made that joke, and it fell flat.
Yeah, and I was like, no.
But also, she was running on the beach in high heels. And I had a hard time with that.
Also classic Kojima. Women can do whatever in heels, and it's just, no. Be realistic.
On the sand.
Yeah.
So Death Stranding is not your game of the year, I'd imagine.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
I did like the story. There were occasional moments where I was like, this is cheesy, but, you know, with Kojima, you expect it.
Right.
So I did like it, but no, it's not like my favorite game of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's my game of the year either, but I think it's an experience that's unlike most other games that I've played, and that's the thing that I'll chalk it up to, and that's why I'm a gamer.
Hell
Get
yeah.
those new experiences.
Oh yeah. And so other than that, you've been playing Pokemon, I guess.
I just got it. I haven't played it yet. So what happened
Okay.
was I bought it Friday because I was like, I'll play this at home, but my niece and nephew don't have a Switch and they love Pokemon,
So they played it.
so they jumped all over, and I was like, you know what? I'll watch The Irishman with my family, and y'all do that, and I'll be okay. But yeah, I haven't even started yet. I might play a little tonight, but I'll probably just start with the grass type because that's what I do. And here's why.
Hashtag Grookey Gang, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm more of a collector. All right. I'm not
I
an
remember
online battler.
last time we were here, you said you have like every spirit in Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
Ultimate.
definitely. This game appeals to my need to collect.
Right.
But I always pick the grass type starter because no one picks the grass type starter, and I can easily start a trade for it when I am ready to do that.
Yeah. Are you going to play Netflix's top-down Irishman game? I'm just kidding. That's not a thing.
Yes. Is that a joke? But yes.
It's a joke.
Was it like Alejandro that posted? He was watching
Tommy.
someone posted like watching Irishman on their Wii
On their Wii U gamepad.
I saw Alejandro do the same thing.
Did he do it too?
Yeah, he posted it not in the group.
Yeah.
He stole it from Tommy.
Someone else watched it. Yeah, he stole it, but because he was going to watch it straight up on the Wii. Alejandro was watching it on the little Wii tablet screen.
Yeah.
I'll go next.
Yep.
Great.
Death Stranding, I talked about last week, but I got my Valve Index. It's sitting in front of us right now.
Oh, yeah. And so people don't know, that's a VR headset.
It's a VR headset, PC headset, and I just figured this out a couple of days ago, but operates at 120 hertz, and more frames mean more VR.
They should put that on the box.
Yeah. But like, honestly, I have a PSVR, and that's really fun. And a couple of friends own some Vives and Quests and stuff. But like 120 hertz is like game changing.
Hell yeah.
Like it feels differently. It's smooth. But I've been playing Blade and Sorcery.
Hell yeah.
Have you guys seen videos of Blade and Sorcery?
I have. I've had. That's the one where they're like Star Wars mods for
There's
it.
Star Wars mods. There's like Wolverine Claws mods.
Yeah.
There's like the Mjolnir mods where you can get Thor's hammer. And
I've seen that with the gun from Ruby or something like that as well.
all of that stuff. It's just like so satisfying and really fucking violent.
Yeah. Do you play against other players?
No, it's all like AI controlled, and it's more of simulation than like gameplay.
Right.
So it's like some simulated sword play, and it's very simple, and it's early access on Steam.
Right.
But it's like $10, and it's a weird, satisfying game.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it.
That's awesome.
But you guys will have to play it in the Star Wars mods and like lightsabers.
I can't wait for the Labo port.
One day.
One day. But it feels crazy. It feels like the future of gaming.
That's great. Yeah, I'll have to try it out.
Yeah.
I'll try to be succinct. I have a lot of things I've been playing. So I beat Golf Story.
Hell yeah.
I almost 100%ed it, but there were like 2 or 3 missions or challenges that I just was like, I'm ready to finish this game.
This dry Australian humor has run its course on me.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a really fun game. There's some really quality of life issues. Like you can't retry things. So like if you do a challenge, and even if you know you're going to fail it, you have to finish it.
Right.
And then go through all the dialogue again. And like, that's just really frustrating.
Yeah.
And that's why those hard challenges that I didn't beat, I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and grind these out. But I probably say like 95% in that game or something like that. So I really liked it. It's got a lot of, it's like really got a satisfying golf gameplay, and the humor is good. So I beat that. On the sale that Nintendo had, I got Unravel 2 because it was only $5, and I thought maybe this would be a good game to play with my son, and it was, and we beat it because it's a pretty short game.
Did you take a picture?
Yeah.
So
Unravel 2, like at first, because like you start going through the tutorial or whatever, and my son's playing it, and he's 5, and you know, like he's not that great at games, and he gets frustrated easily. And you think about like modern games versus when I don't think I even played games when I was 5, but like think about like, you know, there was A and B when we were kids, and now I'm like hit the left shoulder button and then press A, and then you know like and
then do a quarter circle spin.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like his hands can barely fit on this thing.
Yeah.
But like this Luigi's Mansion had this thing where, you know, like you can play as Luigi, and if you die, it doesn't matter. And, you know, Unravel 2 is really great too, because at first I was like, this isn't going to work. He's getting frustrated. But then they teach you this mechanic where if you hold a button, the other player can climb up your rope. So like I can do most of the hard platforming, and then he can just climb up the rope and feel like he's coming along. And occasionally he can, like, I really think this game made him better, like, cause it has wall jumping and a couple of things where he started to, I was like, you got to wall jump. And he's like, I can't do it. And then he would do it, and it'd be like, yes, see, you can do it. So it was like a really good experience. And it's pretty short. So $5 was a great price for it. We beat it. There's a bunch of optional challenges, and I thought he wouldn't have the patience for those, but we've been working through them, so he's been enjoying that. He can't do them at all. It's basically me doing them, but he still likes to watch. So, but he was able to play through most of the game, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And then I went back to Hyper Light Drifter.
Oh, yeah, that's a great game.
I've started playing that right before Smash came out, and I kind of dropped it. And I started playing it. It's like, I don't know if I can do this because I'm just dying. I don't remember the buttons or whatever. And it's the problem of like dropping a game and then a year later coming back to it. But I think I've broke through, and I'm getting better again and remembering how to play it again.
That's a fun game to play in co-op as well.
Oh, you can play that in co-op?
Yeah, it might be a little intense.
Yeah, it's too violent. Like it's like, as silly as this might sound, like I really do only play games with him.
Well, and it's also just like really hard. Like that's a tough game.
Yeah, no, you have to like. That's the thing too. Like coming back to it, I'm like, man, I'm fucking getting slaughtered here.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can do this. But like am remembering the buttons now. And then I also started playing Civilization 6, which I bought a while back and never fired up. When I got frustrated playing Hyper Light Drifter, I fired that up. When I was a kid, I played a lot of Civilization 1 and 2 and Colonization and Sid Meier's Pirates and all those games back in the day. And so it's really scratching that itch, and I'm enjoying that. That's what I've been playing.
All right.
That's what we've been playing, folks. I think that's the show.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much, Brian, for being on the
thank you.
podcast.
Yeah, no
today.
problem. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, yeah.
thank
Did
you
you have
for
a good time?
Yes.
Thank you for
very
joining
good.
us
Bunch.
to like speculate.
If you're out there listening and you have some ideas of who you think Nintendo should work with, who they should partner with for games or merchandise or movies or whatever, we'd love to hear it. We'll share it next week.
Yeah.
Send us a
I'd love
message.
to hear some of our fans speak on this.
Also, you can give us a 5-star review on Apple or share the podcast with a friend. We'd love for you to do that. Thank you to Corduroy as well for doing our music.
Oh, yeah.
And you can contact us, Super Switch Headz with a Z at Gmail, or find us on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, all that stuff. And if you want to find me individually, I am PDYX on the internet.
I'm Matthew, MATHYOU on Twitter.
Everyone on the internet, I am at Monolith Fiji. What about you, Ryan?
Lubu for hire somewhere. I'm all over. Just type it in and it'll pop up.
Lubu for hire.
Lubu for hire.
He's easy to find, folks.
FOR hire. Not the number.
That does it for the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening. We're going to be back next week. We've got kind of another great discussion episode next week. Very excited for that one, so I hope you guys will tune in. But other than that, check us out. Please join our Facebook group. And leave us a comment with what you'd like to see Nintendo partner with for the future. I mean, Nintendo seems like they're into it. I'd love to hear your opinions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.